If I have sinned further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. This quote was popularized by a letter written by Isaac Newton in 1675, and today I relate very much with it. In this journey to understand leadership and see how it applies to myself and to improve the quality of my life, I've had to stand on the shoulders of giants who have gone before to see what they have discovered, theorized, practicalized about leadership, what works and what doesn't. And today I'll be sharing some of that with you. Socrates was said to have been asked to summarize all philosophical knowledge into one sentence. And he said, "Man, know thyself." Know thyself. Who are you? Let's take this analogy of going in for an interview, and you've prepared for this interview. You have done all your due diligence, you know your material, you are ready to answer the questions posed by the interviewer. I'm pretty sure you would definitely have prepared for this question that is usually to come up. Who are you? So what do you tell them? Do you tell them, "Hey, I'm from wherever you're from. I am a graduate of this, or I have a qualification in that"? Those information are already contained in your CV or in your ID card, whatever. When they ask you, "Who are you?" what do they really want to hear? I think very strongly that what they want to know is a sense of who you are, what you believe in, your principles, what you stand for. That's really what they're trying to get a sense of when they ask you, "Who are you?" So who are you? Do you have a set of beliefs, a set of principles by which you are guiding your life? Remember in the previous videos, I spoke about leadership being what everything rises and falls on, like the quote by John Maxwell, "Everything rises and falls on leadership." And I discovered that self-leadership is the first place to start. If you really wanted to do any sort of leadership, you have to first lead yourself. And in leading yourself, you have to know who you are, you have to know yourself. And that's why this point is so very critical. What is your story? Where are you coming from? What has shaped your life experiences so far? What's your perspective on the world? That's what they mean when they ask you, "Who are you?" You've got to be unique. You've got to be different from the rest if you're going to stand out. And unique doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to be extraordinary. Unique could just be the way you see things that is different from how other people see it. The stories that are peculiar to you, that make you that beautiful, amazing human that you are. I think of Jesus. There's a story in Luke chapter 2 when Jesus and his parents, or will I say Jesus' parents and him and the whole convoy, went to the temple to make sacrifices as a yearly tradition. And at the end of the tradition, at the feast, it wasn't a feast, it was more like a ceremony, I think, a religious ceremony. At the end of the ceremony, anyway, Jesus' parents left, assuming that Jesus was in their company. And they had traveled, I think, a day's journey before realizing Jesus was not with them. And then they returned and looked for him for about 3 days. I like a response that Jesus gave them when the mother asked him, "Hey, we've been looking for you. Why have you done this to us?" Jesus said something along these lines. "Why have you been looking for me? Didn't you know that I would be about my Father's business?" And when I thought about that scripture, I felt this is so profound because Jesus did not only know whose business he was about, he knew and expected his parents to know that this is what he stands for, right? He said, "Didn't you know I will be about?" So if you wanted to find me, or if you wanted to know what I was doing per time, it was going to be about my Father's business. That's very profound. That's what he stood for. That's what he devoted his life to. And he expected his parents to know that already. So who are you? What do you stand for? What should we be expected to know when we hear about you or when we hear your name? Think about it, and I hope this helps you as it has helped me in my journey to becoming a better self leader and ultimately a leader.